never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Did I see you dancing to that?
I was having a little jig, yeah.
You can't see me. I'm doing all this.
Well,
Lucy Cohen, welcome back. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me back again.
Well, look, every time you've been on, it's been with someone else.
I know, it's much better.
I want 100% of Lucy. So yeah, you're here. How's it all going?
Yeah, really good, thank you. As always, busy, but good busy. So that's good.
Yeah, excellent. Well, let's let everybody know how long we've known each other, because that is incredible.
Way too long.
Yeah.
15 years.
It's 15 years. So when I was working at Digita, we've got one of our favorite people that joined us. Hi, Zoe.
Oh, Zoe, hi.
Oh, and Sharon was dancing too.
Oh,
Sharon,
yay.
yes. Look, we've got all the decent people in today. Look at that. Yeah. So I was at Digita. I just didn't know what accounting was. I had all this software. It was a colleague of mine that sold it to you, but I was your account manager, and I came up and met you, and I was like blown away with what you were doing. This was pre-cloud software. We sent you out a CD with the software on it.
We had a CD. I remember when the CDs used to come up there, and we had this big server which had like a backup generator on it in case it went down, and we used to have to go in and time to put the CD in to like update all of the tax software and stuff. Yeah, wild that is. That seems like the dark ages compared to today.
But it is. I didn't have a smartphone back then.
No, I had a BlackBerry. I still have my BlackBerry.
Yeah, we were late coming to the party. You'd have thought a digital company, a software provider. We didn't have mobile phones when I first started.
That's amazing.
What
do you stare at all day? What do you do? I've got no idea what I did with my time.
How did you do TikTok? Do you know? And the olden days, we used to phone people up. Can you remember that?
Talk to them
yeah,
with a voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I used to have a landline on my desk. Yeah. Oh, those are the days.
So you were always pushing the envelope. Mm-hmm. You were always pushing, even back then. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, because you were all about the envelopes.
Envelopes, yeah.
And I was like, that's incredible. What an amazing idea! Because there's some people out there, business owners, that don't want to be bogged down with all this stuff. And you even more so. More so. And what you've done is you've set up your processes. You were hammering, you were pushing, Digita to the nth degree. I can remember talking to you about the what do we call it? Contact manager and learning the document creator bit and stuff like that. And it was all that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, they really want to do this and they want to do that. And it was brilliant. And I wish that we'd have had spare capacity to sort of like work with you, because that would have developed the software so much better for the real world.
We're always looking for the next bit or the next thing. I've said like on shows before that I'm a fundamentally lazy person, in that if I can get from A to B in the fewest number of steps possible, I will do it. And that's, that's still the case. So if I can make my life easier, I will. And if that involves having to develop a bit of technology to do it, I'll do that. And if I can make our clients' lives easier by eliminating something for them or taking something away, or just providing a simpler way of doing something, we'll do it. So we're always like looking for that next thing, like this works great, but could it be X% faster? Could it be X% smaller? That's what we've always been about. That's what I'm still about.
You must be a nightmare to live with.
Awful. Horrible. Just a nightmare. Just terrible. And I use up all my clever in work. So like by the end of the day, I'm
absolutely brain dead.
So my husband's like, I thought you're supposed to be really clever. I was like, yeah, no, I've used it all up. It's done now. You get the idiot, Lucy. You get the one who's incompetent. That's me.
Fantastic, fantastic. Kirsty's remembering the days where you used to have to sit on the stairs and use the phone.
Yeah. Well, when
Oh,
in our first office, we didn't have a proper like system of being able to transfer calls. So it was literally had one phone line, and Sophie and I used to sit opposite each other on like, these IKEA desks, and one of us would be, "I'll just transfer you now," and then like when you were at home, like, "Mum, get off the phone." Someone else would pick up the other line, and then I'd very quietly have to put the phone down so it sounded like it was properly transferring. Yeah. So
you didn't sing.
those are the
You didn't
days.
sing for a bit of music on hold then.
No, it was tempting just to play something off it would be a dictaphone back then,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
it would have been.
It wouldn't have
It
been
would
a
have been.
smartphone. But yeah, no, we didn't do that. But yeah, we're in an office that I think is smaller than the landing I'm on now. But we're just so thrilled to have our own office that it felt so special. And we had these terrible old phones and a terrible old phone system. We bought a second-hand. This is how much technology has advanced. We bought a second-hand phone system, and it cost about £1,000 back in the day, which is a lot of money to us back then. So it's still a lot of money. £1,000 is still. I still think twice about dropping £1,000 on anything. And it was a second-hand phone system, which meant that we could transfer calls properly between us and like staff who just started working for us. And that was at that time we were like, this is a game changer. We're like a proper company,
A grown-up business,
grown-up business. Yeah, yeah.
So you've just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and now you've developed your own software. So tell us a little bit more about this amazing new software.
Yeah, so this again born of how can we do things better. So as we've evolved and moved into cloud, we had an original. So the purple envelope was originally people put stuff in a purple envelope, send it to us, and we do all the processing, the bookkeeping, trial balance, all the rest of it. We do it for them because there's a set of people who don't want to be using a bit of software. At that time, it was like downloadable or CD-ROM, Sage, or whatever it was. They're not those people. So we recognized that and developed a solution for them. And then people kept asking us when apps came out, we're like, you should have an app. And I thought, I don't know what it would do. What would our app do? Because it's not going to be an app that shows people tax codes or tables of payment dates or things like that, because they're not interested. They've got us for that. They don't want that. And eventually, when people started saying, oh, actually, I send all my invoices electronically now, does that mean I've got to print them out? Then we started going, right, now is the time we need to develop a digital envelope for people who want to work digitally. So this was many years ago. We had a digital envelope, which is essentially a glorified Dropbox. It was a file sharing place for people to put things, but it worked really well. We could take it from our end. Great. And when we would also then, we started, when people would send stuff in their purple envelope, we started scanning it for them. So they had the benefit of, from our point of view, it was much easier to work in one way. So if everything was digital, regardless of how it got sent in, from the 2 entry points onwards, from there onwards, it was all one way of working. So the only difference,
this is pre-Dext as well, isn't it?
pre-Dex, yeah, his
Yeah, yeah.
because we spent a long time again evaluating OCR software, and at the time that we were evaluating that before we started using it, a person was still quicker and more accurate than Dex. So for us, it's always been where that tipping point is. It's like when Dex, going to kill me for saying that. They're lovely, Dex are lovely, but at the time, OCR technology wasn't what it is now. That's fair to say.
No.
So it was all about how do we get from A to B in the quickest and most accurate way. And I'm not going to suffer through technology waiting to catch up with our speed. It has to, and once it catches up and outperforms it, then we switch, which is what we've always done. And then we got on to where do we want to go for the future? We want to hit this 10,000 subscriber mark. How are we going to get there? How do we make the boat go faster? And we came on to, right, we probably want to evaluate what softwares we're using. And at this point now, we've got 5 or 6 different bits of software working. Some of them speak to each other, some of them don't, and it was like, right, this has now got messy. How do we improve efficiency? So we started looking around, and a well-known software supplier, won't name them, were like, well, why aren't you using our software? I was like, well, I don't think it's going to work for us. Your pricing model doesn't work. And I had a conversation with Sophie, and they came in, and I was like, look, we need to budget this as if we've got 10,000 clients. So when we hit 10,000 clients, they were wanting to charge us £5 per client per month for the software. I was like, that doesn't work for us, because at 10,000 clients, that's £600,000 a year for software we don't own, for changes that we left open to pricing changes, we're left open to technology changes we can't control, and we work in a more price sensitive part of the market. So we either have to absorb that cost or pass it on, and it's hard to absorb or pass on 600k a year. So I sat with Sophie, and she just went, we could build it for that. And I went, say more things.
You're rummaging around the back of the sofa to find 600 grand.
Basically, yeah. We were like, right, where we need to get some money. And and that's when we did a little raise, a little bit of debt, a little bit of raise, and we
And you've heard
started
about
building.
R&D. You've heard about R&D tax credits. I know that one.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so we started scoping out what MazApp was going to be, and
And
it's
how
was
long ago was this then, Lucy?
about 2.5 years ago. About
Okay.
two
And
and a
how
half
long
years
is it?
ago.
How long has it been a real app? Because you've been using it a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's the last bit of the GL. We're not launching all of it live for our clients until it's all fully working properly. Because again, you're dual running systems, it's messy, it's inefficient. I'm not doing that. So we've got a quite comprehensive test environment. The last bit of so we're approved for filing for MTD. So the last bit of the testing of VAT is going on at the moment. We've got some tweaks we want to make to GL layout and how, debtors and creditors are suppliers and whatever is shown on the balance sheet. A few little tweaks, and then it starts going properly live new year, and that then means that we're taking clients from onboarding through from anti-money laundering, setting up the direct debit, pulling data from company's house. We've got open banking, or the open banking part, and invoicing and payments and all that stuff is already working. All of that then is live. The last bit is just that GL going live, and that's taking us from setup all the way through to upload your documents, and then we're going to pull data from open banking. We're going to OCR your receipts for the source documents. We'll put them in the general ledger. It's got AI that remembers per client. It matches up. It does an automatic bank reconciliation. It does all that stuff, takes it through to trial balance every month, at which point we can generate reports, give advice, all the good stuff we want to spend our time doing, not messing around in data. So that's where we're at with it, basically. So we started building this for ourselves because I didn't want to spend 600 grand a year on someone else's software.
Sure.
Basically, I'm very tight. So that was that. And other people then started asking us about it and started asking, oh, that sounds quite good, because we've got quite a lot of clients that, like, with MTD around the corner, they're a bloody nightmare. They're not going to not going to use any software. They won't buy a subscription or something. But could we tap into yours? Could we use MazApp? So then I started talking to other accountants, and this is where the ACT scheme, which we announced last week, came from. Was that we recognise now we've got this platform, we've got this system, highly systemized, highly process driven, and where people might be looking at going, oh, shall I offshore it? Shall I outsource it? Actually, we've built a platform and system and set of people who can do this stuff for you. And let you crack on with your advisory or whatever it is you want to be doing, and make sure that those clients remain profitable for you, because we'll do all the billing and we'll pay a revenue share. So it means that if you're losing money on these clients, we'll just take over sort of stewardship of them. We'll do the day to day, and we'll collect all the money, and then we'll just pay you your profit share out of it, pay you the revenue share, sorry, not profit, pay you revenue share, so it's profitable. And that's what we've been building. So yeah, so we're in the early stages of launching that, but there's been quite a lot of interest in it, which is very heartening. I like that.
And that's the thing. I think everyone is. Can I just say hello to all the new people that have popped in today? So there must
Hello,
be
everyone.
must be fans of you. So we got Paul, we got Marie, and we got Matthew. So thanks, guys. Thanks ever so much for joining us today. So you're a different person to who I met 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You're an accountant back then. You are a business owner, an IT specialist, a pioneer, whatever you want to call you. It's visionary. It's incredible what you've done. And so basically you've built this sausage making machine. And all the accountants and bookkeepers I know have a sausage making machine, but it's built by Heath Robinson. And that's the trouble, because we start off with a bit of software here, and then this shiny object comes along, so we have that one, and then we have that one, and we try and stick them together with Zapier or Sellotape or Blue Tack, and it's still clunky. And what you've done is you've just started with a clean slate, and this is what I want. Not for the faint-hearted.
No,
what you've done is incredible. But what I think your motivation is, A, I want life simpler, but B, why do I put my eggs in someone else's basket?
Yeah, and it's this allowed us. We know we work with a very specific type of client. So we work with the sort of client which for most firms are messy and are not profit making. But we work with those clients and we do it really well. And that's what we're really good at, is we're good at taking those messy, scruffy, shoebox full of receipts, ring you at weird hours of the day, unpredictable small business owners. And
every accountant now listening to this is going, oh my God, that's I've got that client.
Yeah, everyone's got 10% of those and they don't want them. But that's all our client base, that's all we deal with. And we don't deviate outside that. So I'm quite a believer business-wise in doing one thing well, like do one thing incredibly well. And that's where we focus our effort. And then we just keep getting better at it. And sometimes that involves retrofitting stuff, sometimes it involves improving, and sometimes it involves just starting again and going, right, what got us here will not get us there. So we've got here, and we either need to, it's Trigger's broom, right? So it's like,
yes,
had the same broom for 15 years, but it's had 12 handles and 3 heads or something.
I love it. I love that one.
It's that, and it's a case of, at some point you just have to buy a new broom, and that's and stop. And so we're in that kind of I'll be entirely honest, it's the messy middle. We're in that messy phase where we're going from legacy to new, and we want it to work perfectly, because if it doesn't work perfectly, first of all, getting buy-in from our staff and our team, if they don't see it work immediately straight away, they need to have faith in it for it to work. I need to have faith in the accuracy, the speed, all that kind of stuff. So testing's really comprehensive, but it needs to also has to work for our client base. So from what our clients see, nothing looks different. They do not care how we get their accounts done. They don't care what software we use. They don't care what email system we're on. All they care about is that they've got an accountant who answers the phone, gets their stuff done quickly, gets their tax bill right. That's all they care about. They just don't give a hoot about the rest of it. So to them, in the same way, so when you order stuff from Amazon, you click on Prime, you sign up to Prime, you click on it, and it arrives the next day, and you go, woohoo, that's brilliant. And if it doesn't do that, if the thing doesn't arrive in like less than 24 hours, we're disappointed somehow. We've got to a place in our life where we're disappointed.
We're on the phone. We are on the phone.
That
Where is it?
Oven's not arrived in less than 24 hours. We're on the phone complaining. But actually, the logistics and the technology that has to exist behind that to make that happen is monumental, and we're in that building that logistics bit that no one really gives a hoot about. We're building that. It's a logistics, it's a deployment arm. So we've built this thing, and I want to open it up to other people, because kind of on a personal level, I am a big believer in doing one thing well. I speak to a lot of firm owners, and it breaks my heart when I see them struggling with poor client fit, or not having the self-confidence to say no to a certain sort of client because they feel like they'll be looked upon poorly, or someone will say, oh, now they're not taking on any clients from the local area. There's all these other issues around reputation and culture and all this stuff that affect why we don't have the right client fit sometimes. So I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if I can open this up and let other people use it? Works for us, win-win for us. We're pulling revenue from a client. We're doing what we do. We're getting more data in our software. It's making it better. It's improving it. Win for the client. They get what they need. The stuff they don't give a hoot how you do it. It doesn't matter to them if it takes you 15 hours to reconcile their messy bank account. They don't care. And for the firm owner, that's a client they'd be making a loss of. Either a loss in terms of money or time they've had to do it at the weekend or something. Well, I can pay them a revenue share for that now. And if they want to add compliance or other stuff on top of it, great. Knock yourself out. I'm not going to do that. You do it. You do you. But at least for the nuts and bolts compliance stuff that can be heavily automated and you run in, like you said, sausage factory style, a lot of that, let's face it, if we're all entirely honest, when we're working with a micro business markets, limited companies, sole traders, partnerships, LLPs, they're predominantly owner managed companies. They have the same type of advice over and over again, and obviously it's personalized, but it is the same sort of advice, same level of advice. We're not going into R&D tax credits. We're not going into forecasting. We're not going into helping you put together a pitch deck for a raise. It's not what we do. But loads of firms love doing that, and they're brilliant at it, and that's their unique ability. They should not be faffing around with shoeboxes of receipts. What a waste of their talents.
I spend an awful lot of my time when I'm working with my coaching clients, my accountants and bookkeepers, trying to get them to get rid of these paid in the butt clients. And I said, what about this one here? And we do a proper check on all the spreadsheets and work it all out. And I go, what about this one here? It cost you. Oh yeah, but they refer this person, they refer that person. So that person is costing them a fortune, but
Yep.
bringing in revenue.
Mhm.
I can now give that client to you.
Mhm.
You can do it. I'm not going to be chasing them.
Nope.
You know,
You
and
do that.
my clients are just resigned to the fact that I've got to chase Dave 14 times. They're like,
Oh,
really?
yeah,
And so
exhausting.
you've got all the systems in place to do all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
We've
got
only
this
got
vision in my head. I've got this vision in my head of your office now. You know the old mousetrap game when you build all these things on it.
it's like,
I can see that, and there's this little foot now, this little boot kicking your client up the bum,
yeah.
getting them to
And if
send
they
that
don't do
stuff
it, we
in.
trap them at the end in a big net.
Perfect,
Um,
perfect.
yeah, no, we have the systems that do that. And at this point in time, so we've got, well, look, absolute honesty here. We still have clients who we chase twice a month for 9 months of the year to send stuff in, and they still appear on the 30th of January and go, "Can you do my tax return?" And we go, "We'll do it, but if it's late, it's your fault." And
Yep,
they go,
yep.
"Oh, I know." Same conversation every year. You will never get rid of all of those, but you have to be okay with not doing the work 2 times because you build a rod for your own back. If you
Yes.
do it once and they don't get a fine, they will then expect that every year. We have people who send their work in on the same day every year, like almost to the hour. It's spooky. We're so good. 16 years in of this very highly systemized process, we understand client behavior like you wouldn't believe. It's such an insight into how people behave. But yeah, we have this system that does that. At this point in time, we've now got under 20 tax returns left to do for the whole firm out of thousands, less than 20 of them.
You are showing off now,
Yeah, then we've
Lucy.
got less than 20 left to do.
Oh
So
my goodness.
um
In the chat box, guys, how many tax returns have you got left to do? That is crazy, Lucy. And
it means we've got capacity. So if new ones come
right, this
in,
is
we
why
can
you've
help
opened
them.
up. This is
Yeah,
why you've opened up the door.
absolutely.
So I'm an accountant now,
Mhm.
and I'm now listening to all of this, and I'm thinking, right, I know who I can send to you. How does it work? How do I get paid? What do I pay you? What happens next, Lucy? What do I have to do now?
So we work on a firm by firm basis, and we basically tailor a solution that's um, is kind of right for you. So there's sort of three options. There's a very kind of light touch option where you maintain the relationship. We'll do the kind of compliant nuts and bolts, but kind of just hand it over to you, and the client kind of never knows any different really. They see they have to use like the software and stuff, but you very much handle that relationship. Um, and that's just sort of tapping into our system really. There's another option where we are basically you hand the client over, we take full stewardship, and we just pay you a revenue share. So that's you going, I've got 35 clients here that literally make my hair go grey, make me want to cry every year. I don't like working with them, but I feel some kind of strange uh, loyalty to them. I'm going to hand them over to Mazuma, and at least I'm going to make a percentage. We work out the percentage revenue share based on client type, number you're handing over, all kinds of stuff. But with those ones, if they refer other businesses, because let's face it, those clients refer businesses that look exactly like them. They're not referring you your ideal client; they're referring you carbon copies of themselves. So you just end up
More
with more.
dross.
You don't, good word. You just end up with more poor fit clients that that don't suit you. We'll add those into your client bank, so you'll still benefit from the profit share from those as well. So if you'll never have to turn a prospect away, which is a big problem for accountants, and I get it because you want to help them.
Yeah,
Some
it'd
of these
help
people,
everybody.
some of these people are your friends. You've known them for 20 years. That you've worked with their dad, their son, their brother. It's. And then another one is where we've got people who are exiting the profession now. So we're working with people who they've got a small practice, MTD, they're looking for retirement. They're just going to close down. They're not looking. They're not going to sell to a consolidator. They're not that kind of level, but they're going to kind of wind down operations. Well, instead of winding down and handing those clients or saying you're free, off you go, you're now free. You can merge with. So we'll merge you into Mazuma, and then we'll work out a revenue share, which essentially buys you out over a longer period of time
So
than
like a pension.
initially. Like a little pension, yeah, like a little
Nice.
pension, and those revenue shares we have for the life of the client. So if they carry on for 10 years, so does that rev share.
Wow. Wow. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You are a genius. You are a genius. Right.
I'll take that. I don't think I am, but I'll take it.
No, I think you really are pushing the envelope. Sharon's got 30 left to do. That's awesome, Sharon.
Yes, Sharon.
That's the way to do it.
That's
But
what I like to see.
I didn't expect anything less from you, Sharon.
No,
Right,
no, Sharon's
right.
on it.
Okay, I got a question here for you. You ready
Yeah.
for this one? All right,
Go on.
you're sat down. Okay. Won't you just nick the clients off the accountant?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I have been asked that before. We wouldn't last very long doing this if we did that. That would be a very short-term business strategy. No, it doesn't benefit us to do that because we're doing the same anyway. And for the revenue share, it's not worth it. You know, if you're going to do that sort of thing, you've got to go big, and that's not that's not the life we're about. No, this is a collaboration, and there's you catch more flies with honey. I'm not in this to be
I love that saying. That's great.
Yeah, this isn't. Anyone who knows me is that kind of brutal, harsh capitalism isn't what I'm about. It's about collaboration over competition. It's about everyone working to success, whatever their version of success is. So success for everyone isn't super growth. Success is sometimes more time with your loved ones, more dog walks, more time at the beach, more Sunday Lions or golf course, whatever, or happier clients where you feel like you're not serving them correctly and you can't get past that kind of frustration point because they like the fee and the service you gave when you started up, but your practice has changed and it's not appropriate anymore. And I've been through those growing pains and I know what they're like. I love accountants and I love the profession and I love seeing, I think I wrote an article the other day about how I see this collaborative approach being much more prevalent than it was, say, 16 years ago when we started. Because this whole thing, we've wanted to do this for like 16 years.
Wow.
Ever since we started Mazuma, we've been saying we know there are firms that don't have the right sorts of clients. And even other firms are saying, oh, you deal with exactly the clients that we don't want to deal with. But we've never had a mechanism to help them do it without seeming like a massive threat. And I think we've reached a kind of critical mass now where we can do it. Because we've moved into kind of technology development and we can now be a platform and an enablement platform for other people, as well as doing what we love, which is servicing clients and all the things that make me happy, like getting really efficient and fun new technology, which kind of float my boat. So yeah, it's a fair question. It's what I'd ask. I'd ask that. I'm like, what's stopping you just nicking them? But we'd be able to do that 3 or 4 times before our name's mud. You can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a strategy.
I'm just thinking that is
It's a fair objection. Yeah, of course.
We've gone over our 15 minutes. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. Not at all.
I always finish at 1. If we've got any more questions, then are you happy to go on a little bit longer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
not?
Absolutely.
Because Marie's, I don't know if, did you see that? And I put that up.
No, I missed that.
Sharon reckons that you should be PM.
So, God, I don't want that job.
I totally agree. But yeah, who would want that job? Okay, so Marie's come up with a question. Do you get resistance from some about using the app? Will accountants still end up with dinosaurs who won't use it?
Yes and yes is the answer to that. So we still run our physical purple envelopes. So with making tax digital on the horizon, there's still a cohort of clients. And these people are my family, so my family, honestly, they're actors, they're dancers, they're musicians, they're artists. My sister's an artist and she works like oil on canvas. There's no way on earth I'm getting her to snap and send anything into an app. It's just not going to happen. She has a purple envelope. It always comes in covered in paint. It's just a purple envelope. There's a purple envelope next to her jam jar of dirty brush water. And as she buys things and buys her art supplies, she comes home and she throws her stuff into a purple envelope. And then when she charges people for her artwork, they buy stuff from her and she writes them a little receipt and a copy of that goes in there. With making tax digital, obviously, that stuff has to be digitized. And for her, that's a real problem because she's neurodivergent and she's a physical person. She doesn't want to work in that way, but she can because she can still physically post it to us and we'll do all that digitization for them. So even where we've got people who are resistant to using the app, a lot of them will be happy to access it. So they'll probably be happy to log in and look at stuff, but they don't want to interact with it in the same way we might log in and look at social media. They're not complete Luddites. They haven't got coal-powered mobile phones or something. They're still they're using technology. They're just not digital natives, and that's not their natural way of working. So we can still work with those because we've got these. I love watching them work. They're these like big scanning machines, and you throw like a bag of receipts in them. They go like, and they just take all these little receipts and like squirt them up into this client's envelope, and then it's the same system for the rest of it. So for us, it doesn't matter whether they're digital or physical because we work in the same way because we built that in, knowing that we have clients like my painter and decorator, all the tradies who send you a WhatsApp of please pay me this, trying to get them, they're most of them have been happy to use our app to do invoicing. Most of them are okay with that, but if you ask them to upload their documents, it's difficult. We are also though not asking them to do any general ledger work. We're not asking them to do any data entry. It's just same message always: put your stuff in an envelope and we'll do everything else. And that's still it. That's still the core of what we do.
That is brilliant. And that's why you're a success, because there's always going to be those people.
Yeah.
There's always going to be those people. Even people your age aren't digital native.
No, my sister's younger than me and she's not happy in that world.
No,
at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. You turn around and say, if you want something done, ask a youngster, but they're not all into it.
No, and it's and likewise, it's a sweeping generalization really, because I've know lots of people from kind of generations older than millennial, and they're very savvy on technology, but it's an attitude, I think, and also it's down to how your brain works. Vive la différence. I'm glad all our brains work differently and we all have different skill sets. Wouldn't it be boring if we're all the same?
It would be terribly boring.
So dull.
Absolutely.
Or imagine a world full of me's. It'd be terrible. Like,
jolly good fun.
No one would get a word in edgeways. It'd be constant noise.
I was wondering that. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but when I listen to podcasts and stuff, I listen to them at faster speed. If anyone wants to do that with us today, they ain't going to hear a thing because we both talk really, really fast. Absolutely
very quickly, very, very quickly.
No other questions from the floor. We've gone over 1 o'clock. I've got one more question for you.
Yeah.
So I've just put that in the chat box because it's off the thing. But I just want to go to my next week. I thought this week was going to be an awesome show, and it has been. But next week's going to be stonking as well, because I've got Joe and Zoe in. I always have to say that carefully. They've got their book launching next Thursday. I've got my book launching next Wednesday. So we're going to come in and we're going to have a book launch special. We're going to interview each other. We're just going to have a laugh. So that's next week, same time, same place. But Lucy, you have not disappointed. You've been on my show. You've been on my show 3 times. This was the best one because I had 100% of you. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm loving what you're doing.
Welcome. So welcome.
I'm loving what you're doing. I'm an accountant. I'm watching this on replay or I'm watching this live. How do I find out more? How do I sign up? What do I do? What do I have to do next?
Contact me on LinkedIn or on our website where there's a section, scroll down to the menus at the bottom that says For Accountants, and there's a bunch of information on there for you.
Fantastic. And please, when this is all finished, come back into this thread and put a link in so people can get hold of that. That's absolutely fantastic. Right. My question to you then. When you're at school in the playground and looking out at what you're going to do when you grow up, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a dancer. I, in fact, used to dance. And one of my biggest claim to fame is I actually, when I was a teenager, I was actually a backing dancer for Boyzone.
Oh, wow. Really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so before I went into accountancy, I left the showbiz wasn't glamorous enough, so I retrained in accountancy.
Yeah, because there's a lot more glamorous.
Way more glamorous.
Do you still dance?
Only privately in my house.
Right. Okay. Okay. Put the music on loud.
Yeah. Only like no one's watching in my bedroom.
Dance like nobody's watching. Lucy,
absolutely.
You've been absolutely delightful. You're going to have to come back. Everybody loves you. Everyone loves you. Thank you so much. Good luck with what you're doing. You don't need it. Oh, hang on. I've got another quick comment coming in. We want videos of you dancing, apparently. Sharon says.
I'll have to try and dig them out somewhere.
Fantastic. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for your lovely comments. And Lucy, you've been an absolute star. See you again soon. And don't forget, next week we've got the book launch special. Cheerio, everybody. Bye-bye. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose that.